Dr. Leon Jeter is the chair of the Department of Criminal Justice at Berkeley College. Good to see you, Doctor.
Well, glad to be here. Thank you very much.
You have told our producers that studying criminal justice goes far beyond just being a cop and the idea of criminal justice.
Yes.
People are sometimes confused by what that means. Make
Yes.
the case.
Criminal justice is more of just it's sort of a three-pronged process where you're talking about criminal justice is the whole system, not just law enforcement, which is one silo, courts, which would be your secondary silo, and corrections would be your third. And the fourth silo would be community corrections. So it's that whole umbrella from the moment of arrest to the reentry back into the community. And so it's all those things in between there, from nonprofit organizations, juvenile justice, elder abuse, substance abuse. All these kinds of things are part of that umbrella. When you say criminal justice, you're speaking about everything, not just one particular piece of it.
You know, you've said, again, told our producers, but I've read this about you, that you've argued that our criminal justice system, as it relates to prisoner reentry, this whole, by the way, let's clarify prisoner reentry. Yeah. A good friend of ours, John Clancy, who has been in this field for a long time, has been on the show, and he runs alternatives, if you will, to traditional correction systems. And he said, let's just remember something. 90% plus of those who are in prison out on the street will come back again. Let's not kid ourselves. So the whole lock them up, throw away the key mentality doesn't work. You say?
I mean, you have to start thinking from the moment that arrest begins. When the person is arrested, you must start thinking, planning, and preparing for them to come home. And so what are you doing with them during that intervention? Rehabilitation services, maybe substance abuse issues, maybe mental health issues, maybe family dynamic issues. You have to start planning and treating the symptom if you want to cure the problem of criminality.
1 second, devil's advocate, before I go any further. Sorry for interrupting. Someone says, come on, doctor, that sounds nice. We don't have the time, we don't have the money, we don't have the patience. They did the crime, let them do the time. What happens in jail is not my problem. You say?
What's society's problem? The idea is that you're talking about a situation where not improving or not changing someone's behavior becomes a bigger problem when you have recidivism. When the country's recidivism rate is about 65%, which means people are coming out not better than they were when they went in.
Recidivism sounds a bit benign. Make the case. It's not.
I mean, the idea is about providing the proper services to the individual.
Recidivism means they're going to commit crimes again.
Not necessarily commit a crime again. Sometimes it depends on how it's defined. The idea is whether a person commits a crime or violation, or maybe uses substance abuse as a
violation of parole.
Maybe parole or probation. And so it depends on how that concept is defined and used. That's sort of a slippery slope sometimes. But the idea is that what can you do that we know that prison does not work in all situations, but does work in some situations. I support punishment. There are different forms of punishment. And that's the kind of thing should not have a one-stop shop punishment for all. Every case is individualized. That's one thing about the criminal justice system. Every case is individualized, and punishment should be individualized to the individual as well.
How do we get this way?
I mean, I think you have a lot of issues. You look at the symptoms. I mean, educational system, unemployment, family dynamics, those kinds of things put people in different kinds of situations. The mental health issues, whether people are getting proper treatment and services, all these things, someone does not become an addict and then commits a crime after they become an addict, that kind of thing. So the issue is a lot of social dynamics are at play here, and it's not a one answer, but it's a group kind of thing. That's where offender reentry comes in, when it's not just one program that will stop recidivism.
What else do they need? I shouldn't say they. Those who commit crimes. What more do they need in terms of services?
I would say I think more than services. I think understanding. That the idea is that it may take a couple failures to get where you need to go. It may take more treatment, more hands-on. Professor Lobb, who's done research on life course theory, talks about is two things to reduce recidivism: gainful employment and a stable family. You put people in a good position in their lives, the probability is they may not make bad decisions. And if you have a good, strong support network, they may not make bad decisions. And so when you have broken homes and broken communities and the broken windows theory, things like that, these kinds of things occur over and over again. So you want to sort of, from a society standpoint of view, give people hope, give people opportunities, give people chances they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's very important. If you talk to people who are in prisons and jails, they will tell you, they want a chance. They've made bad decisions, they've paid their times.
Have some of them given up?
A lot of times, and I think that's the sad part about it, you know, because when you're sort of labeled an offender and you can't, you know, apply for a job, there's a certain thing. New York, we're talking about drop the box on the application where have you been, are you a felon?
Now you can't vote.
You can't vote, can't do a lot of things, can't get certain jobs, can't get certain benefits. And so you're asking someone to spend years and, you know, months and years in prison and come out and not have any means of supporting themselves, supporting their family, supporting their children, and you're putting people sometimes in a very, you know, difficult situation. And so you're saying, stay crime free, be progressive, but and we know how the economy is, we know how jobs are. For even a college student, jobs are difficult. But
I look on your application.
Yeah.
It says you're a convicted felon.
Yeah. I mean, but the issue with that is it says that, but it depends on how progressive that individual is, the employer is, because a lot of
most?
Yeah, most aren't in tune. Most have a sort of a shallow view of what an ex-offender or what someone who's previously been in jail would, so they sort of have a perception, an assumption about this individual.
And what does it say to that young man or young woman,
Yeah.
or maybe not so young?
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Why am I doing the right thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough challenge, but you have programs and services out there like, you know, Osborne Association, Fortune Society, programs who work with people day in and day out saying, listen, stay in the fight game, you can make a difference. I've worked with offenders for a lot of years, and I've seen people make that personal change, that people who've hit rock bottom and, you know, they have their jobs, have their homes, but things like that. So people can change given the right circumstances. So I think that's very important for someone to not lose hope and to have the support of a community, which is critical, because if you're in a community and everyone turns their back on you, you're asking them to go, back to what they were doing before, and that's a difficult thing.
You know, I understand. In the time we have left, I understand why you care about this as an academic, as a scholar. Why do you care individually as a person? Just from a human perspective, why do you care so much?
I mean, I think the idea is that, you know, there are those of us in the communities who need help, and I think it's very important to reach and to give back to help those who can't help themselves.
Where'd you grow up?
I'm from South Carolina, originally from South Carolina. And to a point, you know, low country, and the idea where you come from a strong family bonds and you help those in your family, you help those in the community, and you see someone who's down and out or who's been challenged by society, who may not can, you know, navigate the system. And so the idea is for folks like myself to say, we can do that for you, we can help you along the way, we can do the best we can, because if you do that, then you help the individual, you help the family, you help the community, you help society as a whole, and that's what it really boils down to. Really, it trickles out. The whole ripple effect, which is very important. And that's the heart of offender reentry as well, that giving back, that building bridges, that building collaborations, that's the critical piece.
And the program at Berkeley is doing that.
At Berkeley College, our criminal justice program is a stellar program. We're preparing students to be successful, not only personally, but also professionally, where students can go into the job world from prosecutors' offices in Passaic County to Newark to NYPD, getting out there with a good view of society, from public policy issues or legislation to just providing service, being willing to do service to help those you can help when you can help them. And also, it doesn't matter which silo you're in, whether you're law enforcement, whether you're courts, whether you're corrections, or you're reentry, you give your best, you give your all, and you try to make a difference in those pockets. And if you do those things, then the system is a better system for it as a whole.
Thank you, Doctor.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
It's a subject that for those who choose to ignore it or think it's not affecting them, they make a terrible mistake.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Doctor.